Let us see now the next chapter, the properties of the magnetic field. Now let's recall where and how are the magnets used in our houses and our surrounding. In houses we can see on the door of the refrigerator the magnet is used. Then in the radios, any music systems, speakers, then magnetic needle for showing the direction, the magnets are used. So in which direction does the freely suspended magnet settle? The freely suspended magnet, it always settles in a north-south direction. The third question is, what are the names given to the two ends of the magnet and why are they named thus? The two ends of the magnet are called as North Pole and the South Pole because the North Pole of the magnet aligns itself towards the geographical north and the South Pole towards the geographical south. Now, which metals are used for making magnets? For making magnets, Mag, that is iron, nickel, aluminium and titanium is used for making magnet. Which metals are, what are the characteristics of the magnet? The characteristics of the magnet are it always points in a north-south direction. The strength of the magnetism is more at the ends than at the center. Even if you break the magnets into two pieces, each part will again be a magnet. Now magnets are made from alloys of copper, iron, cobalt and nickel. So Mag, an alloy of iron, nickel, aluminium and titanium is used to make magnets. We have also learned that Alnico is a magnetic alloy of aluminium, nickel and cobalt. Now let us see this magnetism. Apparatus here, take a steel bar, bar magnet, iron filings, thread, etc. Place a steel bar AB. Place a steel bar AB on the table. Take a bar magnet. Place its north pole at end A of the steel bar magnet and drag it towards the B end as shown by the arrows. Again lift the bar magnet and move it from the end A towards the B. Repeat this 15 to 20 times. Now take a steel bar near some iron filings and observe what happens and hang the bar magnet freely by the thread. It is seen that the steel bar will be seen to have developed magnetism. So this method of magnetization is called a single touch method because the single bar magnet is used to create magnetism in a steel bar. Now this steel bar will attract the iron filings or the iron articles and it will point in a north-south direction. Now same way by the double touch method also you can create the magnetism in a steel bar. Now place a steel bar AB on the table to take two bar magnets. Now take one south pole of the bar magnet and the north pole of the another bar magnet. Take both the bar magnets at the center and move it in a reverse direction towards A and B in a circular as shown in the shown by the arrow in the figure. After some time we see that here this south pole of the left side magnet, it creates a north pole at the end A and the north pole of this right side bar magnet creates a south pole at the end B. So this process also we are moving these two magnets in a for around 15 to 20 times and then after some time we see that this steel bar AB it acts as a magnet. Now since here we are using two magnets for creating magnetism in a steel bar, this method of magnetizing a steel bar is called as the double touch method. Now the next question is, can you tell why does a freely suspended bar magnet always settle in a north-south direction? Now we know that it is considered that Earth is a gigantic magnet. The scientist William Gilbert gave a scientific explanation based on experiment of the observation that a freely suspended magnet always settles in a north south direction. He gave a round shape of the natural occurring magnetic rock. He suspended this spherical magnet so that it could turn freely and brought the north pole of the bar magnet near it. The south pole of the magnetic sphere was attracted towards it. So, here in the figure, you can see that inside the earth there is a big bar magnet where the south pole of that earth's magnet lies towards the geographical north and the north pole of the earth's magnet lies towards the geographical south. So now we can say that which magnetic poles attract each other, unlike magnetic poles attract each other, and which pole of the spherical magnet will get attracted towards the south pole of the bar magnet. The north pole of the spherical magnet will get attracted towards the south pole of the bar magnet. So north in the direction of the north, thus the north pole of the freely suspended magnet settles in the direction of the geographic north pole of the magnet. It means that south pole of some gigantic magnet must be near the geographical north pole of the earth and the north pole of the magnet near the geographical south pole of the earth. So Gilbert inferred from this that Earth itself is a gigantic magnet. However, the south pole of this magnet must be near the geographical north of the Earth while the magnetic north pole is near the geographical south. Now, which direction will a magnetic needle show on the geographical north pole? So, north pole of the magnetic needle will show the geographical north pole. So, in a magnetic needle, take a magnetic square board and mark the direction of it. Place a pot filled with water at the center of the cardboard. Take a magnetized needle, stick it to the small piece of the cardboard by means of a sticking tape. Place the piece of the cardboard with the needle on the surface of the water in the pot. In which direction does the magnetized needle point? We see that in any place does will the magnetic compass of the needle not settle parallel to the ground but at an angle to it. Now, freely suspended magnet does not point to a north but aligns to the Earth's magnetic field axially, that is the north south direction. The magnetic pole of the Earth is different from the true, that is the geographic north, because the magnetic north is constantly changing. It leads to the margin of error called declination, in which there is an angle of difference between the magnetic north and the true north. So that is the reason the magnetic needle does not settle parallel to the ground. Now let us see what do you mean by the magnetic field. Now take a bar magnet, pins, cardboard, iron filings, plastic bottle, bucket, water. Take a bar magnet and some pins. Place them at such a distance from each other that they do not stick to each other. Now slowly move the magnet towards the pin. Observe the pins as they get pulled to the magnet. The magnet attracts the needle from afar. In other words, magnet has an effect even at a distance. Now, procedure. Take a small cardboard. Place a bar magnet at its center. Sprinkle iron filings on the cardboard around the magnet. Tap the cardboard gently. Observe the iron filings. So, what is the inference from the above experiment? The British researcher Michael Faraday named these lines going from one end of the bar magnet to the other as the magnetic lines of force. The region around the magnet where the magnetic force acts on an object is called as the magnetic field, and the magnetic field around a magnet can be shown by means of magnetic lines of force. The intensity of the magnetic field at a place can be gauged by the number of lines of force that pass through a unit area at that place, perpendicular to that area. Michael Faraday imagined that there might be invisible lines of force going from one pole of the magnet to the other, and that magnetic attraction or repulsion might be taking place through the medium of these lines of force. If Faraday's idea is accepted, the intensity of the magnetic field can be obtained from the number of lines of force as explained above. Now, the intensity of the magnetic field is low where the lines of force are sparse, and the intensity is high where the lines of force are concentrated. Now the next question is magnetic force a vector or a scalar quantity? Now this magnetic force is a vector quantity because the magnetic field is the magnetic effect of the electric current and the magnetic material. The magnetic field at any given point is specified by both direction and magnitude as it is represented by a vector field. Now next we will see properties of the magnetic lines of force. While proposing the concept of lines of force, Michael Faraday argued that if all the observed effects are to be explained satisfactorily, then the lines of force must have certain properties. So magnetic lines of force, these are the imaginary lines, connecting lines, and the Faraday introduced the concept of lines of force in order to explain magnetic attraction and repulsion. Magnetic lines of force always run from the north pole to the south pole. The south pole may be of the same magnet or a different one. Magnetic lines of force are in a state of tension like the stretched spring. Magnetic lines of force they repel each other. Magnetic lines of force do not intersect each other. The number of magnetic lines of force at a particular point determines the strength of the magnetic field there. So you can see from the figure how the properties given above help in explaining the repulsion between the like poles and attraction between the opposite poles. According to this property, third property, the lines of force joining the north pole and the south pole of the magnet being in a stretched state like a spring pull the two opposite poles towards each other. So by the fourth property they give rise to repulsion between the like poles. Now the penetrating ability of the magnetic field, let us see. Spread some pins on the table, hold a cardboard at some small distance above these pins. Place a bar magnet on the cardboard and observe. Now move the magnet slowly over the cardboard and repeat this procedure increasing the layers of the cardboard. So fill the water in the plastic bottle, drop a few pins in the water, take a bar magnet near the bottle and observe. Move the magnet through the small distance near the bottle and observe. From the above observation, we see that magnetic field can pass through a cardboard, a bottle, or a water. However, in each case, the intensity of the magnetic field is found to decrease. Now take water in a big basin, place a bar magnet on a plastic lid and float it on a surface of the water. Magnetize the needle or a pin. Stick this needle firmly to a small piece of thick cardboard by means of sticking tape. Place the magnetized needle stuck to the cardboard in the water near the magnet. Observe the direction in which the needle moves. Repeat this, placing the magnet at different places around the magnet and observe. So now what is magnetic force? The magnetic force is a consequence of the electromagnetic force, one of the four fundamental forces of nature. And how does a magnetic force act without direct contact? Magnetic force acts without even direct contact because of the penetrating ability of the magnetic field. And what is the difference between the gravitational force and the magnetic force? Now, gravitational force acts between the two objects with mass, and magnetic force acts between the objects with specific properties. Now, second point of difference is gravitational force depends on the mass of the object. Magnetic force does not depend upon the mass of the object. Gravitational force acts over long range as gravitational field is large, and magnetic force acts over short range as magnetic field is short. Now, the objects are always attracted in the gravitational force. Objects are either attracted or repelled in the gravitational force. So, now next question is what is an electromagnet? Now, the magnet is a magnet which is produced by passing soft metal core made into a magnet by passage of the electric current through a coil surrounding it is called as the electromagnet. And how the electromagnet can be made? Take a magnet, take a metal object, or the metal bar, wind a copper wire around it, supply the electric current through the electric wire. After some time, we see that bar it acts as a magnet. Now you must have seen the metal detectors. Now function of these machines is based on the electromagnet. Now metal detectors they are used in very important places like airport, bus stations, certain temples and buildings. They are used for inspection of persons entering these places. Now, metal detectors they are used to detect very specious articles and also in the food processing industry to detect any iron, steel, or objects mixed unknowingly in foodstuff, and this would be harmful to health. So, in geology, these machines are used to detect the presence and the quantity of the metals. Now, the next question is what is repulsion? Why is repulsion the real test of identifying the magnet? Now, when attraction is there means there are two possibilities, either the opposite pole because unlike poles attract each other is there, or the other object is a magnetic object and the magnet also attract each other. So when repulsion is there means both the objects they are of magnet. So repulsion is a real test for identifying magnet. So how will you find a magnet from among the various articles given to you? Now, magnet has a property to attract things made from iron, cobalt, and nickel. Then, magnet has a magnetic field which is invisible, but it has a property of attracting, pulling other ferromagnetic materials such as iron, cobalt, and nickel. So, if we bring iron, nickel objects near it, they will be pulled towards the magnet. The real test is repulsion. The article which shows the repulsion when one of the poles of the magnet is brought near is surely a magnet.